This is pretty fun. Terrible at it, but it's fun. Today's April 14th, and I am starting a vlog. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it's going to look like. What I do know is I think it will be fun to document my journey. In another episode, I'm going to detail my history, how I got to the place I'm at, in that background. But right now, I'm just going to talk about what I'm doing moving forward, which is incredibly exciting. I live in Des Moines, Iowa. I have a wife, two young boys, and we live in the downtown area of Des Moines, Iowa. And I have been investing in real estate for the last 2 years while I had a W-2 job. Starting next month, I am going to work on getting my real estate license to sell houses. I hesitate on that because it's a process. It is not an overnight thing. You can't just study and take a test, and you have to pay, it's probably around $1,000 what I'll end up paying to do that, which is fine. It's an investment, but it's not super simple. At least it may be super simple. I'll keep you posted on that. But what it isn't quick. I've interviewed at least 5 brokers where if you're a realtor, you need to be selling houses underneath a broker. And that process was good. It was eye-opening. I learned a lot of good things. And in another video, I will explain how I came to the decision that I'm at on what broker I am selling under, or the niche I'm going to dig into and where I'm going to focus of selling houses. Obviously, in an area like Des Moines, we have $50,000 houses upon $300,000 houses upon $750,000 houses. Not too many above $1 million, but there are some. And given my background, selling houses to people who can't afford them breaks my heart. There's no better way to put it. I have seen it. I've talked to people. I've evaluated people for the last 5 years. For lack of better terms, judging them in my head sounds terrible. It's what I do, of what I expect their finances to look like. And when someone is buying a house where their mortgage is more than 25% of their take-home pay, I can't get on board with that. The other thing I can't get on board on with is buying a house when you have a considerable amount of debt. Student loans are a little bit a different story. I'm still really up in the air on those, on how to evaluate them. When it comes to buying a house, there's just a lot of, I can't come to the place where I feel good about telling someone you shouldn't buy a house because you have student loans. I'm not there yet. Obviously, the Dave Ramseys of the world are there, and he's been preaching that forever. We started out in the Dave Ramsey world and really following his principles, have veered off just a little bit. Still love the no debt mentality of residential, what do we call it, non-mortgage debt, if you will. But I can we'll get into our finances, my wife and I's finances, how they look, why we've structured them the way we do, and why we just really, really love real estate. But yeah, like trying to find a niche, trying to find a group of people, 1,000 true fans, if you will, of people that really want to glean and learn information about the Des Moines real estate investment market. I really think that I can be, and I am, a voice of reason, a voice of, hey, this is what that market looks like. These are actual deals. These are what people are saying are deals that aren't actually deals. I really want to do a lot of that, and I think over the next 6 months, I am going to vlog as much as humanly possible, and hopefully you can come with me on the journey, what the Des Moines real estate market looks like in the middle of COVID-19 crisis. Today is April 14th, so we're supposed to be peaking this week, next week, of number of cases of deaths in Iowa. I'm heading out to my couple properties of a handyman fixing up some drywall. So I want to just make sure that that's up to par before I send him the paycheck. One of the most important things to do when you're leaving to go to a property is don't forget the keys to get into the property. The worst thing you want to do is show up to a property, pull out your keys, and realize the keys to open the door are on a different keychain. You know, just sitting here, getting some gas, and what do I see? Shopping shop. You know, middle of Des Moines, no big deal. I laugh at that because Des Moines isn't scary. There's very few bad neighborhoods. So here with the couple of the rehab crews that's just doing a quick once over on the unit. The tenant moved in and there was some drywall patching that he'd done, and then up here caulking around the mold, which is a good point. The rehab crew said, well, at least he cares about the unit, which is absolutely true. The last thing you want is someone that comes in and says, no big deal. One thing he did want to do is fix that. So we're gonna just put some caulking over it and paint over it. I mean, once again, this is not the top of the market unit, so to have everything perfect is unreasonable, but I mean, this is a clean, good-looking unit. There's no reason to complain for a price tag of $595 a month, downtown Des Moines, Iowa. So, whenever a crew comes in, works on you need to have towels, or you need to make sure they clean up after themselves, or have little footies. That might be a better option. Have a box of footies at your properties so that the handyman can put those on before they come in. Something I haven't done, but that might be something to do. Heading to the store, getting a decor outlet cover for the handyman and electrical tape, because my time sitting there watching them, much cheaper than having them run to the store. So if I'm gonna sit there as they work on the house anyway, because the tenant doesn't want me to let them in there without him, might as well just go and get something at the store for him. Wallet, check. So just finished up the work at my threeplex in the Drake neighborhood, and we had some talking in there. It took about 2 hours. They had 2 guys. I ran an errand for them. We fixed, they fixed drywall, fixed a couple drywall patches, fixed an electrical outlet, 2 of those, caulking around the trim on the outside or on the ceiling. Tenant had questions around another outlet on the floor that didn't work. That's not going to work. I'm not putting a new outlet in the floor. This is an old house that was probably more common back then. I'm not going to even mess with that. And there's an outlet a foot away from where that one is, so it's likely that outlet's not even hooked up. The other things I talked about with these guys is I keep calling them handymen. They're more rehab contractors. They do flips themselves, and I just kind of have them do. I do work little odd jobs and stuff. Less handyman, more rehab type stuff. And then Adam asked to get me a quote on the roof and gutters for the property. So he's hooking me up with a guy that does gutters, and he's going to give me a quote on the roof, and we'll see what that is. The only reason I'm doing the roof on this property, I don't want to do it. It's something I planned for. It's not something I want to do, but the insurance company has told me that they won't insure it past February of next year unless it has a new roof. So what that tells me is that it needs a new roof, and I don't really have much of an option besides putting a new roof on it. So it's gonna look good here after a while. hoping I can get a good rate on it, good price on it, just based on the people kind of needing work right now. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what numbers shake out. I'm hoping it's around a $6,000-7,000 job. If it comes in higher than that, I'm gonna be not upset. I'm gonna look around, do a little more shopping, because it's a straightforward roof, just one little overhang, kind of steep, but it's big. It's pretty big size. I mean, the house is 1,900 square feet, so it's got some girth to it. So now I'm gonna head back home. I'm gonna grab a couple tools. Actually, I'm gonna go to the store and put a transition, I think they call it, on the bottom of a door, a little lip so that light doesn't come in. The tenant has said that when he opens the door, or when the door is closed, there's light coming in, and they're caulking that portion of the door didn't work and wouldn't work because the flooring in the door, there's about the door base, it's about frame, if you will, it's about that much difference. So the caulking gun started caulking in that hole, and it just started filling up, and you couldn't put a bead on it because nothing would fill. I really should have probably just shot that video of what was happening so I didn't have to explain that, but it is what it is, and it's over now, and I'm not going back in there to show. So I'm gonna head home, say hi to the kids, maybe eat dinner, and go to the store and get this done, get this tenant satisfied, and so we can stop worrying about it and stop, no offense, hearing from him over and over and over and over. It's not that big a deal. It's just when you get a tenant in there, usually the first month, they just kind of nitpick here and there, and then you do what you can, is what I do. You do what you can, do what you think is right for the price that they're paying, but you can't do every single thing that they want. And I love that they care about the property, but for example, there's some cracks in the ceiling. The ceiling's plastered. If any of you know how plaster works, if you tear off a chunk of plaster, you have to tear off the whole wall. And this is the ceiling. So if we had to tear off the whole plaster ceiling, that is a huge project. Huge project. We're not getting into that. So I can explain that to the tenant and hope he's okay with it. I mean, it looks okay. Once he paints it, it's gonna look much better. That's all we can do. There's no tearing off a foot-by-foot chunk of plaster in order to make a crack go away. That is not happening. So just left lunch with the family. Gonna get some tools and go to the Home Depot store to get a door jamb filler, whatever the heck that is. Yep, we have a goose in the middle of Des Moines. We do that to protect our chickens. So that goose will scare away any animal that's trying to kill our chickens, including our dog. Yes, it looks like a disaster. It's very full one-car garage that is not for a car. Simple drill, some washers, some screws, drill bits, and I need some duct tape. Because who doesn't need a little bit of duct tape?